Hi everyone, it's Dr. Vanessa back with you today for today's Brio session of Facebook Live. For those of you who are watching, I invite you to start a watch party with your friends, families, colleagues, neighbors, just about anyone you would normally be seeing that you haven't been in contact with lately. As you may have heard, Brio Clinic will be closed physically for more than the 2 weeks we originally planned for. And thus we will be expanding the service of delivering Facebook Live sessions to you on weekdays Monday to Friday, with the exception of Thursdays, as well as longer master classes on Saturdays. Feel free to comment if you have any topics that you would like us to discuss. It could be something that hasn't been covered yet, or a request for something more that you've already heard that you really loved. As we just wait for a few more to join us, I'll introduce myself again. For those who don't know me, I am Dr. Vanessa Yu, a naturopathic doctor, and I will be guiding you through a session on therapeutic breathing techniques, not only for relaxation, but also energy. Breathing. It's an essential activity of living. In fact, it's so important that it happens automatically. Today, I hope to engage all of your senses and open up your lungs to what's happening just below the surface. Firstly, the diaphragm. This is the main muscle of breathing. It lies at the heart of breathing. It's a dome or mushroom-shaped muscle under your rib cage, just here. It physically separates your abdomen and pelvic area below from your thoracic or chest area, which houses your heart and lungs. When you inhale, your diaphragm contracts and lowers, allowing your lungs to expand. Air rushes in, bringing in life and energy. Then, when you exhale, so from contracted to expanded now, it rises back up to its original position, and the air rushes out, releasing waste, negativity, and tension. It's an opportunity to let go of the things you don't want, things that no longer serve you. As we will discuss later, consciousness of our breathing changes it. So it's helpful to ask someone to watch the rise and fall of your chest and belly as you breathe normally, or as normal as possible, knowing that you're being observed. This is to gain even more insight into your breath rate and breathing pattern than what's possible alone. Let's try this now for 15 seconds. I'll set a timer, and I'm going to close my eyes. I invite you to do the same. Ready? 15 seconds begins now. Okay, so that's meant to represent what's your normal breathing, or as close as possible given the situation. I counted 4 to 5 breaths, and if I multiply this number by 4, let's use 5. That would give me my minute breathing rate. So in this case, 20 breaths per minute. A normal breath rate for an adult is 12 to 20 breaths per minute. The diaphragm is largely regulated by the autonomic nervous system, our subconscious. This same system controls our smooth muscles, organs, and glands. But we have the power to consciously take control of it, to voluntarily move it in a way that suits us, like we do with our skeletal muscles, using the somatic nervous system. To recap, we have two parts to our peripheral nervous system. On one hand, there's the somatic nervous system, and on the other hand, there's the autonomic nervous system. The ANS is subdivided into two additional parts. That's the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. Breathing allows the body to shift into the parasympathetic state. This is also known as rest and digest. When we're in parasympathetic mode, we feel calm, present, expanded, restful. It's very regenerative. The opposite is a sympathetic state. Unfortunately, most people's dominant state. This is also known as fight, flight, freeze, and in psychology, we may also add fragment. This is a disturbance where thoughts and actions are split apart or dissociated. It's understandable because of the fast-paced, demanding society that we all live in, that there will be stressful events. But it's important to notice how it affects our breathing, as well as our performance. So we can intervene when possible. When not in sympathetic dominance, we can think about things more rationally, and therefore solve the very problems that weigh us down more effectively. This translates to something as simple as taking a few breaths before a presentation, starting an exam, baring your soul, or showing vulnerability. Some of you may do this instinctively. Why? Because our bodies know it feels good. On the other hand, there's the sympathetic mode. This shows up as being fearful, split off, contracted, on guard. It's a high charge state that we can't contain. It feels draining. Relearning how to breathe with your diaphragm involves an understanding of its role, which we discussed earlier, feeling its presence, and consciously breathing. It's a bridge between our conscious and unconscious actions, which is why there's so much emphasis on it with activities like meditation. Let's try breathing again now for another 15 seconds. This time, take a moment to ground. So we can do this by feeling our feet. If you're seated or standing, you can lift and drop your heels a couple times. Rub your soles against the floor. You can gently place your hands on your lap. This time, try to notice what your diaphragm is doing as you inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. I'll set this timer, 15 seconds, and let's begin. I always get nervous that I didn't really set the timer and that it's going to go on for way longer before I notice. So far, it's been good. So breathing is something we can do to get out of our heads and into our bodies, almost anywhere, anytime. I hope you noticed a difference between the first time that we breathed, just as we normally would, and the second time with more consciousness of grounding ourselves beforehand and how we're breathing. The goal really is to find a rhythm to your breath that matches the way you move. Certain types of breathing support specific activities, like running, swimming, yoga, singing. Trust me, you don't want me to demonstrate that. And even talking. And the depth and pacing also informs our mood, the way we feel, because of the two-way communication between the mind and the body, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. Now I'll review my three favorite ways to breathe. The first one is diaphragmatic breathing. The pattern is to inhale for 4 seconds, hold it at the top for 7 seconds, and exhale for 8 seconds. Let's try this together for 3 rounds. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This time I'm just going to count with my fingers so I can experience the great feelings of diaphragmatic breathing as well. Inhale. It was hard to coordinate. We'll try it one more time, the third time. Inhale for 4. So that is diaphragmatic breathing. Next, I'll talk about box breathing. The pattern is inhale for 4 seconds, hold at the top for another 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold at the bottom for 4 seconds. And repeat, like the 4 sides of a square box, everything is the same length. Takes the same amount of time. So let's do that now. And inhaling through our nose and exhaling through our mouths. Inhaling for 4. Hold. Exhale. Hold. That's box breathing. There's a variation called segmental breathing. Like its name, you inhale in equal segments of 4 through your nose, like this. Then hold at the top for 4, like we did with the regular box breathing, and then exhale through 4 equal segment sniffs. And hold at the bottom. So let's do a few sets of that one. You can then progress to continue inhaling with the 4 sniffs, holding for 4, but then exhaling through 1 long continuous sniff and holding at the bottom. So The changing from 4 sniffs in and out to 4 sniffs in and 1 long sniff out is really great for managing the mood. It helps relax mental emotional states, especially stress. The next one is belly breathing. And this one works best lying on the ground if that's possible. I'm going to stay seated so I stay in view. So for those of you who can, lie on the floor with legs slightly elevated. You can place a cushion under your feet, or if anyone's got a bad back, it may feel nice to put it underneath your knees. You'll place your left hand over your upper chest and your right hand over your abdomen. Where we have our left hand over the sternum is just about where we have our hearts underneath, slightly to the left. We're going to inhale through the nose while pushing our stomach out against our bottom hand. And then exhaling slowly through pursed lips, pushing your stomach in and up towards your rib cage. And trying to let go of any tension. See if I can show that better. So again, we're going to inhale through the nose, pushing our stomach out against our hand here. Then exhale slowly through pursed lips, pushing the stomach back in and up towards our rib cage and upper chest. See if you can expand your rib cage and puff out your chest instead of raising and tensing your shoulders. As you do the belly breath, note where you're holding tension at present. Common areas are the jaw and the shoulders, as well as the back of the head. You might have different areas. Remember that all of these breaths, whether it's diaphragmatic, box, or belly, are done slowly and controlled. As we're breathing in, the idea is drawing up energy and life to inject that oxygen, healing, circulation, and waste removal that's available to us from our environment. Finally, I'm going to show you a couple techniques that may be less familiar, which I'm drawing from my study of integrative body psychotherapy. Some of the main differences with IBP breathing are that you'll be breathing both in and out through your mouth. And the emphasis is always on the inhalation. It may be helpful to tilt your chin up and your head back to draw on more of that vital life energy that our bodies crave. And lastly, always keep your eyes open so that you don't split off and can contain and stay grounded. So just a few easy breaths, and the key points are breathing in and out through your mouth, keeping your eyes open. And then if you want to assist with the head movement, as I'll show in a second, please be my guest. Here we go. With the chin up, head tilt, I noticed that I'm able to take in a lot more breath. And I hold it for a little bit at the top and just let my exhale naturally fall out. I don't want to be forcing anything. Because we're so consciously learning these different distinctive types of breathing, it may seem a bit unnatural and even forced. And that is the tendency with learning anything new, really. But I would encourage you to practice. You can do this with a tissue. I'm going to show you with this fluffy feather here that how you're breathing through nose and mouth. You want to try to keep this air around your face as still as possible. So this is kind of what we're looking for. See how the feather barely moved? This is not what we're going for. There might be an audible sound, especially with the IBP breath, but for the other ones that we did at the beginning, those ones that are more designed for relaxation, you don't want to be huffing and puffing because that is more similar to that sympathetic state when we're running away from something that's scary behind us. That kind of evokes those types of scenarios. And so then triggers our bodies to lose that sense of calm and relaxation that breathing is, therapeutic breathing is aimed at. So not like this. Okay, so as promised, here are two more actual techniques. This one is called the cross crawl, and you'll be raising your hands alternately in the air and glancing up with your eyes only, following the path of your hand without moving your chin up and down. So stable neck, and just flicking those eyes up and down to follow the movement of your hand. So today I'm noticing that my rotator cuffs are a bit tight, so I'm not raising them as high as I normally might go. I'm also noticing that it feels good to kind of smack my hand down on my thigh as I exhale. The other part of this involves the legs. And so I'm going to aim the camera down lower to hopefully illustrate this. So alternating hands, as we were doing before, inhaling as we bring our hands up and exhaling as we clap it down on our thighs. And we're going to add a stomp with our foot going across the body. So right hand inhale, left hand raised up, and then exhaling down, following your hands with your eyes. Okay, gotta get the hang of this. Okay. So that is the cross crawl, crossing across our body. And if there was a vertical plank here, it would be like I was crawling. The last one I'm going to talk about today is charge breathing. This one really elevates your level of energy. So we're going to take two fingers of our two hands, and we're going to find our collarbone or clavicle right here. And you'll just trace the bottom until you find a tender spot. It's probably a little bit different on every person, but you'll know that once you put a little bit of pressure on it, that it will be tender for you. So for me, it's right about there. You want to use your upper chest to inhale through your mouth and hold for a moment at the top, then let it fall out. So like this. Okay, let's all do a set of 5 breaths together, and then we'll take a little break. Ready? I think that was 5. And then let's do another 5. But just take a moment in between to notice where your energy is traveling. Energy can be felt as tingling, heat, or any other number of sensations. After either the cross crawl or this charged breathing, it's important to take a moment to go back inside. So let's close our eyes and again try to find that energy. If there's any tension in our body still, if there's softening of areas that we noticed more before, if there's any humming or buzzing or differences in temperature. And with both the IBP cross crawl and charged breath, the goal, if on a scale to 0 to 10, 10 was the most energy you've ever felt. Not like caffeine jitters, but just a balanced energy where you're alert and calm and feel like you can accomplish anything. And 0 being sleeping. You want to aim for something like a 6 or higher, 6 or 7 or higher. So keep on breathing until you feel that aliveness and energy. Especially with the charged breath. It might look like I'm hyperventilating, but I promise you it feels really good. It's going to take time for our bodies to get used to this new feeling of aliveness. For our respiratory muscles to get used to the level of expansion and flexibility that we're training it for. So be patient with yourself, and the important thing is to practice. But please also go at your own pace and do as many as your body allows you to. I promise it'll come with time and that you will be rewarded. So that's all I have for you today. We talked about 5 different therapeutic breathing techniques for calming. You can choose from diaphragmatic, box, with the segmental variation, belly breathing, and for energy, there's the cross crawl and charge breathing. Thank you all for joining me today. My name is Dr. Vanessa Yu. I'm a naturopathic clinic at Brio, and we will have a lineup for you released soon of our next set of upcoming talks and weekend masterclasses. I hope to see you then. Bye for now.